The rogues have invited Wally to join them now that Thawn has captured his father. What will Wally do now? The world warps before Wally's eyes. He is staring at a strange red orb that floats before him. Slowly, he steps forward and reaches out his hand. But something comes from the black center of the orb. A ghostly hand reaches for him and Wally screams. But the world changes again, and Wally is standing before the rogues. Captain Snart cocks an eyebrow at him and repeats his question. "So how about it, kid? Wanna go rogue?" Snart asks. Wally shakes his head and looks around in shock. "You okay? You look like you just saw a ghost," Lisa says as she steps forward. Digger taps Snart on the shoulder. "Forget this little twerp, Cap. We don't need him. We'll do it ourselves," he snaps. But Snart shakes his head. "No way, Digger. He's coming with us. We owe it to Rudy," Snart reminds him. Wally is shocked. "What do you mean? Didn't my dad send you?" he asks. "Seems your dad started asking the wrong questions about Project Olympus. Thawn has him," Lisa explains. But Snart steps forward and puts a hand on Wally's shoulder. "Look, Wally, your dad and I go way back. He's saved my ass more times than I can count. We're gonna find him, and he'd want us to make sure you're safe," Snart tells him. But Wally still isn't sure. He looks down at Grodd as the tiny monkey tugs on his pant leg. Wally looks into Grodd's large eyes. "Not lying," Grodd thinks to him. Wally smiles at his friend as Grodd crawls onto his shoulder. Wally stands and looks at the rogues. "Fine, we're in. What's the move?" he asks. "The move? The move is to take the fight to Thawn. We kick her ass, find your dad, and put this all behind us," Digger says as he leans against the armored vehicle. But the group hasn't noticed. The trickster is watching them all closely. Her helmet transmitting everything she sees back to Thawn at Fort Fox. Inside the base, Thawn and Colonel West watch the screen. "So you have Jessie in your pocket? I never trusted her," West growls, his hands still cuffed behind his back. Thawn nods and sighs in exasperation. "The others are deluded. I gave them everything, turned them into demigods, and they still have some misguided devotion to you. I don't understand it," she says. West nods, explaining that they survived combat together, worked together during war. "We're not just soldiers. They're my brothers and sisters, and you've made them into weapons. And now they're coming for you," he tells her. But Thawn merely shrugs as she continues to watch the rogues and Wally board their armored vehicle. "Let them come. I'm counting on it. The others will die, but your son is what we've been waiting for," she says as she finally turns away from the screen. West is shocked. He doesn't understand, but Thawn merely smiles. "He is the key, the link between us and our ultimate goal. Barry Allen's sacrifice will not be in vain," she says with a smile. Meanwhile, the rogue's vehicle rockets across the sky. On board, Digger finally turns to Snart and asks what the plan is. "We'll call soon and tell Eleanor we got the kid and make her think that everything is going according to plan. And then we do what we were made to do, Digger. Infiltrate, extract, and get out," Snart tells him. Digger nods in agreement. "As long as I get to blow stuff up first," he grunts. Behind them, Wally is looking around, his worry playing on his face. But Lisa leans forward. "Don't worry, Wally. Your dad is as tough as they come. He'll be fine," she tells him. But Trickster shakes her head. "Wishful thinking," she mutters, pointing out that it is a very real possibility that Rudy's already dead. Wally watches as the two begin to argue back and forth, with Lisa pointing out that Jessie's helmet seems to be messing with her head, and she doesn't even seem human anymore. "You want to talk about not being human, Lisa? You're basically a robot from the hips down. What happens if Thawn just turns them off and puts you back in a wheelchair?" Jessie shouts. But Wally has stopped listening. The cabin is suddenly filled with a red glow. He turns his head and sees the red orb again. Floating at the back of the cabin, he stands slowly and starts to walk towards it. The two girls stop fighting as they watch him. "Wally, you okay?" Jesse asks. "Do you guys see that?" Wally whispers as the red orb fills his vision. He reaches his hand for it, and energy begins to warp around him. Suddenly, he hears his own voice behind him. Wally turns and watches the two women arguing. He sees himself turning and seeing the red orb and beginning to stand. He watches as he walks towards it and reaches out a hand. More echoes begin to appear. Time begins to repeat around him as the same events play over and over again until the sounds fill the cabin. He falls to the ground as the energy begins to spark off him, crying out in anguish. But suddenly, Grodd is there, taking hold of Wally's head and placing their foreheads together. "Wally only here. Wally only now," Grodd whispers into his mind. The echoes stop just as suddenly as they began, and Wally collapses to the floor. "Only here. Only now," he whispers as Grodd pats him on the shoulder. "What the hell is going on back there?" Snart snaps from the cockpit. I wish I knew, bro," Lisa tells him. But there isn't time to explain as they get closer to Fort Fox. He taps a button on the control and opens a comm with the base. "This is Captain Snart to Olympus Control. Tell Thawn we have the West Kid and we are inbound," Snart tells them. There's a moment of static before Thawn's voice sounds over the radio. "Hello, Captain. This is Thawn. Is Trickster there?" Thawn asks. Jesse stands up in the back and steps closer to Wally. "I'm here, Dr. Thawn," she calls. "Excellent. Please secure the asset, Jesse," Thawn orders. Snart turns in surprise as Jesse activates one of her shield bubbles around herself and Wally. "Goodbye, Captain," Thawn says as she presses the detonator. Fire suddenly erupts around them as the vehicle explodes. "No!" Wally screams through the fire and smoke, but the smoke quickly clears, and Wally's eyes widen as he sees the rest of the rogues have been saved by Grodd creating a telepathic shield. "The damn monkey saved us!" Digger shouts in surprise. But the bubble bursts and the rogues begin to plummet to the ground. Digger quickly activates his drones and swoops down to save them. But anger flashes across Lisa's face as she uses her robotic legs to launch herself towards Jesse and Wally. "Jesse, I'm gonna make this hurt," she growls. Inside the bubble, Wally has begun to panic. Energy begins to crackle around him and he suddenly runs. "Let me go!" he yells. The energy snaps out and shatters the bubble shield, tossing Jessie the last few feet to the ground. She reaches out for another toy as she struggles to get back up. "Nice trick," she gasps. But Lisa suddenly flies out of the air and slams into her. She lashes out and kicks Trickster to the ground, knocking her out. "Well, so much for the element of surprise," Lisa groans as Wally, Snart, and Digger join her. Snart hands the unconscious Grodd to Wally. "Grodd saved our asses. Took it out of him, though," Snart says. Meanwhile, in Fort Fox, West is struggling against his guards as Thawn leads him deeper into the compound. "Stop this, Eleanor. He's just a boy," West snaps. But Thawn shakes her head, pointing out that Wally has become something more. "Your son is the missing link between my grandfather's work and Barry Allen's," she says as they step into another large chamber. West's eyes widen at the sight of the shifting and pulsing portal that stands in the center of the room. Energy snaps at them, sparking off the walls as Thawn stands before it. "This is what Olympus has been all about. Barry Allen and I built a doorway. and Wally is the key to opening it. And that was the complete story for issue 9 of Absolute Flash by Jeff Lemire. The story's getting pretty intense, and we're getting to the cosmic treadmill next issue. But what did you think about today's story? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to help us out in that YouTube algorithm. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Ben.